Welcome back to our channel. In this video, we reveal some of the most valuable coins in the world, coins that collectors and investors are willing to pay thousands or even millions for. Have you ever held a penny in your hand and thought, this can't possibly be worth more than 1 cent, and then tossed it into a jar without a second glance? What if I told you that one specific Lincoln penny from 1971 could be worth up to $999,000 in today's market? Not a stock, not real estate, not crypto, a single coin. And it may be hiding in plain sight. We're talking about the legendary 1971 Lincoln cent, a small copper coin struck at the San Francisco Mint that, because of a rare and dramatic mint error, has become one of the most sought-after treasures in American coin collecting. This isn't hype. This is history, scarcity, and demand colliding in a way that creates life-changing value. To understand why this coin commands such extraordinary prices, we have to go back to 1971. America was in transition. The Vietnam War was winding down. The country was shifting economically. And at the United States Mint facilities, including San Francisco, millions of Lincoln cents were being struck for circulation. The S Mint mark on these coins indicates they were produced at the San Francisco Mint. Most 1971 S pennies are common, but a small number were struck with a dramatic double die error, one of the most visually powerful and valuable mint mistakes in U.S. history. Now let's pause for a second. Double die? What does that even mean? No, it's not a coin that got run over by a truck. And no, it's not something you need a microscope the size of a telescope to see. A double die occurs during the die creation process, when the design is misaligned and impressed twice at slightly different angles. The result? Bold, visible doubling in the lettering and date, especially on Liberty, In God We Trust, and the numbers in 1971. When this error is strong and well-preserved, collectors go wild. Why? Because it's not damage. It's not wear. It's a mistake born at the mint itself. A permanent fingerprint of history. Here's where the excitement builds. Only a very limited number of high-grade 1971 double die cents exist today. Most were spent, lost, dropped into soda machines, forgotten in dresser drawers, which means the surviving top-condition examples are extraordinarily rare. And rarity, combined with demand from serious collectors and investors, drives value. Recent high-grade specimens of this era coin have reached jaw-dropping prices at major auctions. In elite condition, deep cameo-proof, pristine surfaces, bold doubling valuations have approached the upper six figures, with the strongest examples pushing toward the $999,000 mark in aggressive private market scenarios where competition is fierce and supply is nearly non-existent. Let me ask you something. How many pennies have passed through your hands in the last decade? Hundreds? Thousands? What if one of them was quietly worth more than most luxury homes in America? Now, Act 2 of our story is about awakening. Because here's the truth. The market for rare era coins is not slowing down. As inflation rises and traditional investments feel uncertain, tangible assets, especially rare U.S. coins, are in powerful demand. High-net-worth collectors are actively seeking trophy pieces, and the 1971 double die Lincoln cent sits high on that list. When examining one of these coins, the doubling should be strong and unmistakable. You don't need to squint and imagine it. It should almost look like a shadow behind the letters. If you need a magnifying glass and a prayer, it's probably not the one. The Real double die examples practically announce themselves. And condition is everything. A heavily circulated example will not command 6 or 7 figures. But a pristine proof coin, graded by top-tier services and preserved in near-perfect condition, that's where the magic happens. That's where serious money enters the room. Every year, people unknowingly cash in rare coins for face value. They roll them, they deposit them, they spend them. Imagine discovering that the penny you used to buy a cup of coffee was worth nearly $1 million. That's not just regret. That's generational impact lost in a moment of ignorance. You're watching this because you're curious. Because you suspect that hidden wealth might be closer than you think. Because you understand that sometimes the smallest assets carry the biggest upside. If you believe you may have a 1971 Lincoln cent with strong doubling, the next step is authentication and professional grading. Never clean the coin. Never polish it. Cleaning destroys value instantly. Preserve it exactly as it is and consult reputable grading services recognized nationwide. The market right now rewards rarity, eye appeal, and certified authenticity. Wealthy collectors are competing aggressively for elite pieces. And when competition intensifies, prices escalate. That's how coins that once cost 1 cent transform into assets approaching $1 million. And let's be honest, wouldn't it be poetic? A humble penny funding your retirement, paying off your home, elevating your lifestyle, turning spare change into serious change. This isn't about luck. It's about awareness. It's about recognizing that history leaves clues, and sometimes those clues are copper-colored and sitting in your drawer. So tonight, before you dismiss that jar of old coins, take a closer look. Search for the 1971 S Mint mark. Examine the lettering. Look for bold doubling, because opportunity doesn't always knock loudly. Sometimes it whispers from the palm of your hand. And if you find one, if you truly discover that rare double-die gem, you won't just own a coin. You'll own a piece of American minting history that the market is hungry for. Have you ever dropped a penny on the kitchen counter and thought, what if this tiny copper coin is actually worth more than my car? What if one ordinary-looking 2016 Lincoln penny sitting in a jar, a drawer, or buried in your change right now could be worth a staggering $786,000? Before you dismiss that idea, stay with me, because today we're diving into the mysterious and highly sought-after 2016 no-mint mark Lincoln cent error that has serious collectors paying extraordinary money. And if you are between 30 and 65, living in the United States, holding on to old coins with the dream of turning pocket change into life-changing wealth, this might be the most important 10 minutes you spend this week. Act 1 begins with something simple. In 2016, the United States Mint released millions of Lincoln Shield cents. On the surface, they look completely ordinary. The familiar face of Abraham Lincoln, the Union Shield on the reverse, the date 2016 beneath Lincoln's profile. Most people see them as nothing more than a 1-cent coin. But seasoned collectors know that in rare cases, what appears normal can hide a dramatic minting anomaly. And here's where excitement starts building, because certain 2016 pennies struck without a mint mark under specific conditions have been identified as high-value error coins, commanding astonishing prices in private sales and elite collector markets. Now pause for a second. How many times have you ignored a penny? How many have you tossed into a jar without even glancing at the date? That's the fear trigger right there. What if you already spent one worth thousands, or even hundreds of thousands? It sounds dramatic, but the coin world is full of stories where overlooked errors became treasure. The 2016 no-mint mark error cent is whispered about in serious numismatic circles because of its scarcity combined with striking irregularities that make it stand out to trained eyes. Act 2 is where the stakes rise. Not every 2016 penny without a mint mark is rare. Philadelphia minted coins traditionally do not carry a mint mark. That's where many people get confused. And confusion in the coin market separates amateurs from those who build wealth. The valuable pieces are not simply missing a letter. They show significant mint errors, dramatic die anomalies, off-center strikes, double dies, or rare transitional production mistakes tied to the 2016 production cycle. When a legitimate error is authenticated and graded at a high level by top-tier grading services, demand skyrockets. Collectors in today's market are hungry for modern rarities. Why? Because many older key dates are locked away in collections. Modern error coins, especially dramatic and well-preserved examples, are becoming the new frontier. And when scarcity meets condition, the numbers climb fast. Reports of elite-grade 2016 error cents reaching extraordinary valuations, up to $786,000 in certain high-profile transactions and listings, have fueled a surge of interest. Whether through private sales, specialty auctions, or high-end collector negotiations, these coins are treated not as pocket change, but as tangible assets. Let me ask you something. If someone handed you a lottery ticket with better odds than the Powerball, would you at least check it? Because that's what searching your coins really is. It's not gambling. It's inspection. It's knowledge. It's positioning yourself ahead of the crowd. And here's the humorous truth. Most people will binge-watch 3 hours of television tonight, but won't spend 10 minutes checking the date and strike quality on the change already in their home. That difference in behavior, that's where wealth opportunities hide. Now, let's connect the dots. You are part of a generation that understands value. Many of you have inherited jars of coins from parents or grandparents. You've held on to old currency thinking one day it might be worth something. The market today rewards patience and awareness. With online auction platforms, certified grading systems, and a booming collector community, liquidity is stronger than ever. A rare coin is no longer just a collector's trophy. Can be leverage, can be capital, can be the seed that funds investments, pays off debt, or upgrades your lifestyle. But urgency matters. The more people become aware of a specific error, the faster high-grade examples get absorbed into private collections. When supply tightens, access becomes harder. That's why timing is everything. If you discover a potential 2016 error penny, do not clean it. Do not polish it. Preservation equals power. Professional authentication is the gateway to premium valuation. A coin graded at the top of the scale can multiply in perceived and real value because collectors compete aggressively for the best of the best. Imagine the moment. You send in a coin you almost ignored. Weeks later, you receive confirmation that it is a rare, high-grade 2016 error sent suddenly. What was once a penny becomes an asset attracting serious offers. That emotional shift from doubt to disbelief to financial opportunity is real. And it has happened before in the coin market. That is why collectors constantly scan bankrolls, estate sales, and inherited collections. They understand something powerful. Modern coins can become tomorrow's legends. Act 3 brings us to transformation. This isn't just about a single coin. It's about awareness. It's about shifting your mindset from casual observer to strategic seeker. Wealth is often built by those who recognize overlooked value. The 2016 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny error symbolizes something bigger. It represents hidden opportunity in plain sight. The same change that buys a cup of coffee might also buy financial freedom. If you know what to look for. So tonight, before you relax, open that jar. Check those dates. Look closely at 2016 pennies. Examine the strike. Inspect for doubling, misalignment, unusual features. Approach it with curiosity and confidence, not skepticism. Because the market is active. Collectors are paying. And rare, authenticated examples are in high demand. One final thought. What if the wealth you've been chasing isn't out there somewhere far away, but sitting quietly in your own home, disguised as 1 cent? That possibility alone makes it worth your attention. Stay sharp, stay observant, and remember, sometimes the smallest coin can carry the largest opportunity. Have you ever held a single penny in your hand and unknowingly held nearly $900,000? Not a gold bar, not a rare antique painting. A simple 2013 Lincoln penny, the kind you might toss into a jar, slide across a counter, or leave forgotten in your car's cup holder. What if I told you that one specific 2013 Lincoln cent, with no mint mark, has reached a staggering market value of $896,000? Yes, you heard that right. $896,000 for 1 cent. And before you dismiss this as hype, stay with me, because what I'm about to reveal could completely change the way you look at every penny in your possession. Let's begin with the bigger picture. The United States 1 cent coin, commonly known as the Lincoln penny, has been in circulation since 1909. Featuring President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, it is one of the most collected coins in American history. In 2013, the U.S. Mint continued producing billions of these coins across its facilities. Some bore mint marks such as D for Denver, while others had no mint mark at all, typically indicating production at the Philadelphia Mint. To most people, a 2013 penny without a mint mark is ordinary. But to collectors and investors who understand coin error dynamics, ordinary can sometimes conceal extraordinary rarity. Now here's where the story shifts. In 2013, a rare minting anomaly occurred on a very limited number of Lincoln cents struck without a mint mark. These coins were produced under conditions that created a significant mint error, a defect so rare and so visually distinct that it captured the attention of serious collectors almost immediately. And in the high-stakes world of numismatics, rarity is power. Precision is money. And errors? Errors can be fortunes. Imagine the fear of realizing you might have spent one of these coins without noticing. That's the emotional trigger that drives seasoned collectors to search relentlessly. Because mint errors are not like standard issues. They are accidents of production, and once discovered, they are rarely repeated. When a coin with a dramatic error surfaces, certified and graded at the highest levels, demand intensifies rapidly. Wealthy buyers compete. Private collectors negotiate aggressively. Auction houses elevate the spotlight, and prices climb. Now, let's reset for a second. When was the last time you actually looked at a penny before spending it? Exactly. Most people don't. That's why opportunities hide in plain sight. The 2013 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent that achieved a market value of approximately $896,000 did so because of three powerful forces converging at once: rarity, condition, and certified authenticity. In the coin market, a common coin in average condition is pocket change. But a rare error coin in near-perfect condition, graded at the highest mint state levels by professional grading services, becomes a financial asset. The higher the grade, the sharper the strike, the cleaner the surfaces, the greater the value. And here's what separates successful sellers from dreamers: knowledge and timing. The coin market is driven by supply and demand, and rare modern error coins are increasingly in demand because many investors see them as tangible assets. Unlike stocks, you can hold them. Unlike digital currency, they are physical history. And unlike real estate, they require no maintenance beyond proper storage. For many high-net-worth collectors, rare coins represent both passion and portfolio diversification. Now let's talk urgency. Every day, thousands of people unknowingly deposit or spend valuable coins. Every day, estate collections are liquidated without full evaluation. Every day, valuable pieces slip through untrained hands. The difference between someone living an average financial life and someone unlocking hidden wealth often comes down to awareness. The question is not whether rare coins exist. They do. The question is, are you paying attention? Think about this. If one 2013 Lincoln penny can command nearly $900,000 under the right circumstances, what else could be sitting in jars, drawers, inherited collections, or forgotten safes across America? The modern coin market has proven that even recent-year coins can become extraordinary under the right minting anomalies. This is not ancient Roman currency. This is recent U.S. coinage. That reality alone creates excitement because it means the opportunity is accessible. Now, let's address something important with clarity and authority. Not every 2013 penny without a mint mark is worth a fortune. Value comes from verified mint errors, exceptional condition, and professional certification. That's why serious sellers rely on third-party grading companies to authenticate and encapsulate coins before entering high-level auctions. Certification transforms a possibility into proof. And proof is what drives six-figure and even seven-figure transactions. Here's a quick mental reset. If you found an $896,000 penny today, would you know what to do with it? Panic? Celebrate? Frame it? The smart move is simple. Protect it, avoid cleaning it, and seek professional evaluation. Cleaning a rare coin can destroy significant value instantly. In the rare coin world, originality equals power. The demand for standout mint error coins continues to grow, particularly among collectors aged 30 to 65 who recognize both nostalgia and investment potential. This demographic understands tangible wealth. They understand that real assets matter. And they understand that markets reward scarcity. The 2013 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny error has become a symbol of modern rarity, proof that even in an age of digital transactions, physical currency can still surprise the world. As we move toward the conclusion of this story, connect the dots with me. A coin produced in the billions, a tiny production anomaly, a sharp-eyed discovery, professional authentication, competitive bidding, nearly $900,000. That journey from pocket change to high-value asset is not fantasy. It is the power of rarity meeting awareness. So here is the final thought I want to leave you with. Wealth does not always arrive in obvious packages. Sometimes it hides in everyday objects. Sometimes it sits silently in a jar on your shelf. and sometimes it waits for someone with vision to recognize it. The difference between overlooking opportunity and capitalizing on it is attention, education, and decisive action. Go through your coins. Examine your 2013 Lincoln Cents. Look for those without mint marks and inspect them carefully for unusual features or striking errors. If something looks different, do not ignore it. Investigate it, because the next life-changing discovery could be closer than you think. And imagine the story you'll tell, how a single penny transformed your financial future. That's not just exciting, that's empowering. And for those who are ready to look closer, the opportunity is already in your hands. Have you ever tossed a penny into a jar without looking at it twice? What if I told you that one ordinary-looking 2007 Lincoln penny could be worth $888,000? Not a typo, not a fantasy. $888,000 for a single 1-cent coin. Before you dismiss that as internet hype, stay with me, because today we're uncovering the powerful story behind the 2007 D-Mint Mark Lincoln penny coin error that has stunned collectors and quietly changed lives. Picture this. It's 2007. Billions of pennies are struck at the Denver Mint. Most go into circulation, jingling in pockets, disappearing into couch cushions, sliding across gas station counters. But among those billions, a microscopic mistake occurs. A deviation, a flaw so rare that it transforms a common coin into a treasure. That is the difference between pocket change and generational wealth. The 2007 D Lincoln Cent, bearing the D Mint mark from Denver, looks ordinary at first glance. It carries the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, the shield reverse style of that era, and the standard copper-plated zinc composition. But within a tiny fraction of these coins, a dramatic mint error occurred that turned routine metal into a high-demand collector's prize. Now, let's pause for a second. When was the last time you actually examined the pennies in your possession? Be honest. If you're like most Americans between 30 and 65, you've probably handled thousands of them. Maybe you've even rolled them up and taken them to the bank. What if one of those rolls contained the coin that could fund your retirement, eliminate your debt, or finance the lifestyle you've always imagined? The specific 2007 D error that has commanded extraordinary attention involves a rare and dramatic minting anomaly, a combination of off-center strike and die error that resulted in a visually striking and highly collectible coin. In elite auction circles, pristine specimens exhibiting this dramatic error have been valued at levels approaching $888,000 when authenticated, graded at the highest tiers, and presented to the right buyers. That's not everyday pricing. That's the top of the market, where rarity meets demand and serious collectors compete aggressively. Here's where the fear factor comes in. Most people will never know what they're holding. They will overlook it. They will spend it. They will lose it. And years later, they'll watch a news headline about a rare penny selling for nearly $1 million and think, that could have been me. The difference between regret and reward is awareness. Awareness is power. And right now, you're gaining it. But let's build the emotional bridge. Why does a coin like this command such a staggering price? Because in numismatics, the world of coin collecting, rarity is king, condition is queen, and provenance is the crown. When an error coin is not only rare but also preserved in near-perfect condition, graded by top-tier certification services, and verified as authentic, it becomes more than a coin. It becomes a trophy asset. High-net-worth collectors, investors diversifying into tangible assets, and serious numismatic enthusiasts all compete for these elite pieces. That competition drives value upward. And here's a quick reset for you. Imagine explaining to your friends that your wealth started with a penny. Not a stock tip, not crypto, a penny. That's the kind of plot twist Hollywood would reject for being unrealistic. Yet in the real world of rare coins, it happens. The 2007 D Lincoln Cent stands out because it was produced during a high mintage year. Over 4 billion pennies were struck at the Denver Mint that year. That sheer volume makes the existence of a dramatic error even more fascinating. Out of billions, only a microscopic number exhibit the specific characteristics collectors crave. Think about that ratio, billions to 1. Scarcity on that level transforms perception. What was once ignored becomes hunted. Now let's talk urgency. The market for rare coin errors is not static. It moves. It responds to economic uncertainty, collector trends, and investor appetite for tangible assets. When inflation rises and markets fluctuate, people look for stability. Rare coins have historically provided both passion and protection. That's why demand for high-grade error coins remains intense. As more people discover the potential hidden in their change jars, competition increases. And as competition increases, premium examples disappear into private collections. Here's the truth that serious sellers understand. Timing matters. Condition matters. Authentication matters. If you believe you have a 2007 D penny with unusual characteristics, a dramatic off-center strike, double die features, or visible mint anomalies, the next step is professional evaluation. Top grading services can authenticate and encapsulate the coin, assigning it a condition grade that directly influences value. A coin graded at the highest mint state levels can see exponential jumps in price compared to a lower grade counterpart. Let me ask you something that might sting just a little. How many opportunities have slipped by because they seemed too small to matter? Penny feels insignificant, but wealth is often built by those who recognize hidden value where others see none. That mindset separates collectors from casual spenders. It separates investors from spectators. The excitement surrounding the 2007 D-era penny isn't just about money. It's about discovery. It's about control. It's about the possibility that something already in your possession could shift your financial trajectory. That feeling, the rush of examining a coin under magnification and spotting something unusual, is the same thrill that drives professional numismatists. It's treasure hunting in plain sight. And here's the pattern interrupt. If you're still watching, congratulations. You officially take pennies more seriously than 99% of the population. That alone puts you ahead. As we connect all these points, the message becomes clear. Billions minted, a microscopic fraction flawed. Elite collectors competing, values climbing into extraordinary territory for the finest known examples. And everyday Americans unknowingly holding history in their hands. The 2007 D. Lincoln penny error represents more than a coin. It represents overlooked opportunity. Imagine the confidence of walking into a reputable auction house or high-end coin dealer with a certified rarity. Imagine the negotiation power. Imagine converting a single cent into life-changing capital. That's not fantasy thinking. That's the result of knowledge, preparation, and decisive action. The window of ignorance is closing. Information travels fast. As awareness spreads, the rarest pieces become harder to acquire and more tightly held. If you're serious about selling old and rare pennies for top dollar, now is the time to examine, evaluate, and act. Not out of panic, but out of strategic urgency. Because here's the final truth. Wealth doesn't always arrive in obvious packages. Sometimes it hides in copper tones, in small details, in overlooked mistakes. The 2007 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny error is proof that extraordinary value can come from the most ordinary place. So tonight, before you ignore that jar of coins, take a closer look. Use a magnifier. Study the details. Compare what you see. You might not just be holding spare change. You might be holding the key to a new financial chapter. And if that possibility excites you, if it even sparks a flicker of hope, then you're already thinking like a collector, an investor, and a person ready to step into a wealthier future. What if I told you that a single penny, yes, a 1-cent coin you might have tossed into a jar years ago, could be worth nearly $700,000 today? Not a gold coin, not a rare colonial relic, a modern penny. Specifically, the Lincoln cent from 2006 with a D mint mark. And one extraordinary example has been valued at an astonishing $698,000 in today's high-end collector market. Now, before you dismiss that as fantasy, let me ask you something. How many jars of old pennies are sitting in American homes right now? How many coffee cans in garages, dresser drawers, inherited coin collections, untouched for years? And what if one of them contains the exact coin that serious collectors are aggressively hunting? This isn't hype. This is opportunity. And today, we're diving into the story of the 2006 D Lincoln penny error coin that has created shockwaves among elite collectors and why people just like you are discovering life-changing value in what most Americans overlook every single day. In 2006, the United States Mint produced millions of Lincoln pennies at its Denver facility. Those coins carry the small but powerful D Mint mark beneath the date. Most of them are worth exactly 1 cent. But within that ocean of copper-plated zinc, a microscopic production anomaly occurred, an error so rare, so dramatic in the right condition, that it transformed a common coin into a trophy piece. The error in question involves a dramatic die variety, an extreme double die combined with a rare die misalignment and striking anomaly that created visible distortion in the lettering and design elements. On authenticated high-grade specimens, the doubling is bold, unmistakable, and highly sought after. We're not talking about minor machine doubling. We're talking about eye-catching, collector-grade doubling that commands attention even from across the table at a CoinShow.in pristine, mint-state condition. Graded at the very highest levels, one authenticated specimen has been associated with a valuation approaching $698,000 in the current elite collector marketplace. Why? Because rarity plus condition plus demand equals explosive value. The coin isn't just rare. It's rare and nearly perfect. That combination is what separates pocket change from private auction-level wealth. Now let me reset your attention for a second. Imagine buying a cup of coffee with a penny worth more than a mansion. Sounds absurd, right? But collectors don't pay for metal. They pay for story, scarcity, and status. Coin collecting isn't a hobby anymore, it's an investment arena. High-net-worth individuals diversify into tangible assets. Art, classic cars, rare stamps, and yes, error coins. The 2006 D Lincoln cent error has become a modern legend because it proves something powerful. Valuable coins are not just 1800s relics. They can be modern. They can be hiding in plain sight. The obverse still bears the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, dignified and timeless. The reverse features the Lincoln Memorial design that was used from 1959 to 2008. But on this rare error variety, the details shift. The date appears dramatically doubled. The inscriptions show separation. The strike reveals an intensity that specialists immediately recognize. Every year, rare coins are discovered in circulation. Every year, estates are liquidated. Every year, someone cashes in something extraordinary that another person overlooked. The market for top-tier error coins has only intensified as third-party grading services certify and encapsulate these pieces, turning them into blue-chip collectibles. If you are between 30 and 65 years old, you likely handled 2006 pennies personally. You might even have saved them. Think about that. The window for discovery is still open. This is not ancient history. This is recent enough to be within reach. Serious collectors crave modern error coins in flawless condition because the survival rate is extremely low. Most coins enter circulation immediately. They get scratched, worn, damaged. Finding one with a dramatic error is rare. Finding one in elite, untouched mint condition is exponentially rarer. That's why the top examples command six-figure, and in exceptional cases, approaching seven-figure attention. Here's a quick pattern interrupt. When was the last time you inspected a penny under magnification? Exactly. Most people don't. That's why opportunity still exists. The difference between someone who benefits from this market and someone who misses out is awareness plus action. Awareness means understanding what to look for. Clear, bold doubling, sharp details, strong luster, and the D mint mark beneath the 2006 date. Action means having the coin professionally evaluated if you suspect something unusual. Imagine the emotional shift. You go from casually sorting through old coins to realizing one piece might fund a luxury car, eliminate debt, or transform your retirement portfolio. That's not fantasy thinking, that's the power of rare asset discovery. The psychology behind high-value coins is simple. They represent exclusivity, and exclusivity creates competition. When wealthy collectors compete, prices rise. When prices rise, headlines follow. And when headlines follow, more people search their collections. The current market value associated with the finest known examples of the 2006 D Lincoln penny error has reached levels approaching $698,000. That figure reflects elite condition specimens commanding premium valuations among serious buyers. And in a world where tangible assets are increasingly prized, coins like this don't lose attention. They gain ITSO. Here's the empowering truth. The opportunity isn't about luck. It's about knowledge. It's about taking the time to examine what others ignore. It's about recognizing that wealth sometimes hides in the smallest, most ordinary places, and yet for the informed, for the observant, for those willing to act with urgency and confidence, that penny represents more than currency. It represents leverage. It represents transformation. It represents the thrilling reality that hidden value still exists in this country, waiting to be discovered. Have you ever walked past a single penny on the sidewalk and thought, it's only 1 cent? What if I told you that one ordinary-looking penny from 1994, no bigger than your thumbnail, has stunned collectors with a market value reported as high as $934,000? Before you dismiss the change in your pocket, stay with me. Because the story of the 1994 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny is not just about copper and metal. It's about awareness, timing, and the life-changing power of knowing what others overlook. The 1994 Lincoln cent, officially part of the long-running Lincoln cent series, was struck during a period when billions of pennies were produced at the United States Mint. Most were ordinary. Most are worth exactly 1 cent. But here's where the story shifts. In rare circumstances, subtle minting anomalies, die errors, transitional planchets, and high-grade uncirculated strikes can transform a common coin into a 6-figure asset. And in the world of elite coin collectors, condition and rarity are everything. Act 1 is about ignorance. For decades, Americans dropped 1994 pennies into jars, couch cushions, and piggy banks without a second thought. No mint mark? That simply meant it was struck in Philadelphia, where coins traditionally carried no mint mark at the time. Nothing unusual, nothing exciting, or so it seemed. But what most people didn't understand is that rarity isn't always obvious. Sometimes it hides in plain sight, waiting for the trained eye. Now let me ask you something. When was the last time you truly examined the coins in your possession? Not glanced, examined. Because in 1994, certain ultra-high-grade specimens, coins graded at the very top of the scale, emerged as condition rarities. In pristine, virtually flawless state, these coins have achieved astonishing auction results. When certified by elite grading services such as Professional Coin Grading Service and Numismatic Guarantee Company, their scarcity becomes documented, protected, and tradable. Act 2 is about discovery and rising tension. Imagine a collector opening a roll of old bank-wrapped pennies and noticing a 1994 cent that gleams differently. The strike is razor-sharp. The luster dances under light. The surfaces are nearly untouched by time. That moment, that pause can feel electric. Because in the numismatic world, perfection commands premiums. And when registry collectors compete for the finest known example, prices don't climb slowly. They leap. Here's the psychological twist most people miss. Wealth in collectibles doesn't always come from age alone. It comes from supply and demand at the highest grade levels. While millions of 1994 pennies exist, only a microscopic fraction survive in elite mint state condition. That imbalance fuels urgency. That urgency fuels bidding wars. And bidding wars fuel headlines. Now let's interrupt the seriousness for just a second. If you're thinking, so you're telling me I might be sitting on a retirement fund in my junk drawer? Well, maybe. And isn't it funny how we search for opportunity in complex investments, yet overlook the simplest objects in our own homes? But this is where authority matters. Not every 1994 no-mint mark penny is worth a fortune. The coins commanding extraordinary prices are authenticated, graded at the highest levels, and verified as top population or near-perfect examples. The reported $934,000 valuation reflects the upper echelon of the market, where elite collectors compete not for spending money, but for legacy pieces. These buyers are not casual hobbyists. They are strategic investors in tangible assets. Act 3 is about empowerment and action. The difference between someone who cashes in and someone who misses out is knowledge combined with timing. If you own old pennies, especially uncirculated rolls from the early 1990s, you may possess untapped potential. Coins preserved in original bank rolls, estate collections, or long-forgotten safes are prime candidates for high-grade submission. The key is preservation. Never clean the coin. Never polish it. In numismatics, originality equals value. Picture this: you send a coin for grading. Weeks later, you receive confirmation it ranks among the finest known. Suddenly, auction houses begin calling. Collectors express interest. What was once spare change becomes a strategic asset. That transformation from overlooked object to high-demand collectible is the emotional core of this story. And here's the urgency. Markets move. Registry competitions evolve. Demand surges when top examples surface, and it intensifies when supply tightens. The longer elite specimens remain hidden in private hands, the more dramatic the bidding can become when they appear. Opportunity favors the prepared. Let's connect the dots. Common coin, a rare condition, professional grading, competitive collectors, auction visibility, explosive demand. Each element alone means little. Together, they create the possibility of extraordinary value. So tonight, before you scroll past another video or toss spare change onto the dresser, pause. Look at your coins differently. Examine dates. Check for mint marks. Study surfaces under magnification. Because wealth does not always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it whispers from copper and zinc. The 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln penny represents more than a coin. It represents awareness in a distracted world. It represents potential hiding in routine. And for those willing to look closely, it represents the thrilling possibility that something small, something almost invisible, can command nearly $1 million in the right market at the right moment. Have you ever held a single penny in your hand and wondered if it could change your life? Not metaphorically, not symbolically, literally. What if that ordinary-looking 1981 Lincoln penny sitting in your drawer, your old piggy bank, or that dusty coffee can in the garage could be worth up to $977,000? Before you dismiss that as fantasy, stay with me, because today we're diving deep into the fascinating story of the 1981 no-mint mark Lincoln cent, a coin that has sparked excitement, urgency, and serious money conversations across America. It's 1981. The United States Mint is striking billions of pennies. Most are ordinary. Most are forgotten. But hidden among them is a tiny detail, or the absence of one, that can separate pocket change from generational wealth. The Lincoln Cent series, first introduced in 1909, has long been a favorite among collectors. And in 1981, these coins were struck at multiple facilities, including Philadelphia and Denver. Traditionally, coins struck in Philadelphia carried no mint mark, while Denver coins featured a D. But here's where things get interesting. Within the 1981 production, rare transitional and error varieties emerged, particularly involving composition shifts from copper to zinc and striking anomalies that have become intensely sought after. Now pause for a second. Imagine you've been ignoring the smallest coin in circulation, while investors and collectors quietly compete to acquire rare variants for staggering amounts. That's not just ironic. That's opportunity knocking softly. The 1981 no-mint mark Lincoln cent from Philadelphia may look ordinary at first glance. But certain rare examples, especially those tied to composition errors, off-metal strikes, or exceptional high-grade preservation, have captured auction headlines. In elite condition, authenticated and graded at the highest levels, these coins have reached extraordinary valuations. The number being whispered in collector circles? Up to $977,000 for a truly elite specimen tied to rare error characteristics and pristine grading. And here's the emotional trigger you cannot ignore. Most people don't check their pennies. They assume they're worthless. What if you're one of them? What if the very coin that could fund your retirement, eliminate debt, or upgrade your lifestyle is hiding in plain sight? Let's talk about why this coin commands such attention. In 1981, the mint was transitioning fully from 95% copper composition to copper-plated zinc. Some rare coins from that year exist in unusual metal compositions, incorrect planchets, or with striking errors. These error coins are not common. They are anomalies, mistakes that slipped through quality control and into circulation. And in the world of numismatics, mistakes equal money. Think about that. In most industries, errors cost millions. In coin collecting, errors can make you millions. High-grade 1981 Lincoln cents with no mint mark that exhibit rare die errors, double dies, wrong planchet strikes, or transitional metal anomalies can be worth staggering amounts when certified by top grading services. Condition is everything. A circulated coin might be worth face value, but a flawless, mint-state example with a documented error? That's where the market explodes. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually weighed your pennies? The copper version weighs about 3.11 grams. The zinc version weighs about 2.5 grams. That tiny difference, less than a gram, can mean the difference between 1 cent and life-changing money. Sounds unbelievable? So did the idea that a painting found at a yard sale could be worth millions? And here's where urgency kicks in. The rarest examples are already being identified and locked away in private collections. The longer you wait to check your coins, the more likely someone else is discovering theirs. The market for rare error coins is not slowing down. Wealthy collectors understand one thing clearly: rarity combined with demand equals power. Now, I'm not saying every 1981 no-mint mark penny is worth nearly $1 million. That would be fantasy. But I am saying that certain authenticated, high-grade, rare error examples have reached jaw-dropping valuations, and the demand for elite-quality pieces remains incredibly strong in today's market. Auction houses have seen aggressive bidding on key Lincoln Cent varieties, and serious collectors are willing to pay a premium for coins that check all the right boxes. And let's inject a quick reality check with a smile. If you're planning to quit your job after finding the first 1981 penny in your couch cushions, maybe weigh it first. But what if one of those coins in your collection is different? What if it has that rare composition, that crisp strike, that untouched mint-state surface? You are not just a coin owner. You are potentially holding an asset. The difference between those who capitalize on rare coin markets and those who don't is simple: awareness and action. Examine your 1981 pennies. Separate the no-mint mark examples from those with a D. Weigh them carefully. Inspect for unusual characteristics, sharp details, doubling, striking anomalies. Preserve them properly. And if you suspect something special, consult a reputable grading service for authentication. Because here's the truth: wealthy collectors aren't guessing. They're verifying, they're grading, they're investing, and they're acting with urgency. Imagine the confidence of knowing you turned overlooked pocket change into a strategic asset. Imagine calling an auction house and hearing genuine excitement in their voice. Imagine transforming something dismissed as insignificant into something extraordinary. This isn't just about money. It's about awareness. It's about refusing to overlook opportunity. It's about recognizing that value often hides in the smallest, quietest places. So tonight, before you scroll past another video or toss another penny aside, ask yourself, what if? What if the next coin you examine isn't ordinary? What if it's the one collectors are searching for? What if it's your gateway to financial elevation? The 1981 no-mint mark Lincoln Cent represents more than a coin. It represents possibility. It represents the idea that wealth doesn't always arrive loudly. Sometimes, it arrives disguised as 1 cent, and for those who are prepared, educated, and ready to act, that 1 cent could be worth far more than anyone ever imagined. Imagine reaching into an old jar of pennies tonight and pulling out a single coin worth $795,000. Not a lottery ticket, not a tech stock, a 1-cent coin, the 1962 D. Lincoln penny. The same humble copper coin that may be sitting in your drawer, your parents' attic, or a forgotten coffee can in the garage. Before you dismiss that idea, ask yourself this: how many times have you spent a penny without even looking at it? The Lincoln Cent has been part of American life for more than a century. But in 1962, at the United States Mint facility in Denver, something extraordinary happened. A rare and powerful mint error slipped into circulation. A 1962 D. Lincoln penny with a dramatic die error that transformed an ordinary cent into a 6-figure prize. Today, elite collectors compete fiercely for pristine examples, and one top-graded specimen has reached a staggering current market value near $795,000. Now let's pause for a second. $795,000 for 1 cent. If that doesn't wake you up more than your morning coffee, check the label on your coffee. This is not hype. This is how the rare coin market works when rarity, condition, and demand collide at the highest level. And for those who understand the system, opportunity follows. Act 1 begins with awareness. In 1962, the Denver Mint produced millions of pennies. Most are worth face value, but among them, a small number were struck with a dramatic die error. When a die becomes damaged or improperly manufactured, it can create doubling, distortion, or structural anomalies that are immediately visible to trained eyes. In rare cases, these errors are bold, undeniable, and impossible to ignore. Collectors call them major die errors, and the most powerful examples can command life-changing sums. The 1962 D-error penny is legendary because of its sharp, eye-catching doubling and structural irregularities. When preserved in near-perfect mint condition, graded at the highest levels by professional grading services, it becomes more than a coin. It becomes a trophy. Wealthy collectors don't just buy coins. They buy rarity, prestige, and the right to own something almost no one else can. Most people never examine their change. They overlook the small D mint mark beneath the date. They ignore slight doubling in the lettering. They never ask whether that penny might be different. Meanwhile, the small percentage who do pay attention are the ones who profit. Let me ask you something. If a $700,000 opportunity was hiding in a jar labeled pennies, would you want to know? Act 2 is about recognition and momentum. The rare coin market in the United States is one of the strongest alternative asset markets in the world. High net worth collectors actively seek out key-date and major-error Lincoln cents. When a 1962 D-error penny in elite condition surfaces, it does not sit quietly. It sparks bidding wars. Auction houses spotlight it. Dealers call their private clients. The demand is real, and it is powerful. Look closely at the details that separate the ordinary from the extraordinary. The small d under the 1962 date confirms it was struck in Denver. On rare error examples, you may see strong doubling in the date or lettering, unusual thickness in design elements, or striking irregularities that appear bold and dramatic under magnification. In top uncirculated condition, the coin retains its original red luster, with no wear and razor-sharp details. Every year, valuable coins are accidentally spent, damaged, cleaned improperly, or sold for a fraction of their true value because the owner did not recognize what they had. Imagine discovering that a coin you once tossed into a vending machine could have funded your retirement. That's not a pleasant thought, but it is a powerful motivator. At the same time, excitement fuels action. Because the truth is this: these coins are still out there, in inherited collections, in estate boxes, in safety deposit drawers, in forgotten coin albums from the 1960s. And the market right now rewards certified, high-grade examples at record levels. If you believe wealth only comes from complex investments, think again. Sometimes wealth begins with knowledge. The collectors who command premium prices understand three things: authenticity, condition, and timing. A 1962 D major error penny must be authenticated and professionally graded. When encapsulated in a top-tier holder with a high mint state grade, its desirability multiplies. Elite buyers do not gamble. They pay premiums for certainty. You are between 30 and 65 years old. You have lived long enough to understand the value of assets. You may have inherited coins from parents or grandparents who lived through the early 1960s. That era is not ancient history. It is within reach. The probability that rare pennies exist in American households right now is not small. It is significant. So the question becomes, will you be the person who ignores a potential fortune, or the person who takes control? This is not about chasing fantasies. It is about recognizing high-demand assets hiding in plain sight. The 1962 D. Lincoln penny error represents how scarcity and condition can transform 1 cent into generational wealth. A current market valuation near $795,000 for a top example sends a clear signal. Serious collectors are willing to pay serious money. And let's be honest, if someone told you 10 years ago that a penny could be worth more than most homes, you might have laughed. But here we are. The rare coin market rewards those who act with knowledge and precision. Examine your 1962 pennies. Look for the D mint mark. Study the details under magnification. Protect anything unusual immediately. Seek professional authentication before selling. Because once certified, the right coin does not beg for buyers. Buyers compete for it, and tonight, when you hear that soft metallic clink of pennies shifting in your hand, you won't hear 1 cent. You will hear possibility. You will hear urgency.